Detroit, Michigan on a Wednesday night, and one-of-a-kind Keyworth Stadium set to welcome another boisterous crowd. Stephen Carroll is the longest-tenured captain in Detroit, and his side in the thick of the playoff hunt, while league legend Enzo Martinez will need to pick up the slack with two key midfield pieces out tonight. It's Detroit City and Birmingham Legion on CBS Sports Network. From the state of Michigan, the USL Championship is on CBS Sports Network. The summer of soccer is underway. Detroit City hosting Birmingham Legion, a historic venue with modern charm, Detroit City's Keyworth Stadium. Take a look at the Eastern Conference standings side by side, Detroit City and Birmingham. Birmingham have never gotten over the hump against this Detroit City side in 4 previous meetings. If they do so today, they would hop DCFC in the standings. And good evening, everyone. Joined by Devin Kerr, Mike Watts on hand, and here we go on this Wednesday night, Devin. 2 teams right next to each other in the table. It's not hard to understand why this game matters quite so much.
This is my favorite time of the year. It's that 10, 12, 15-game window where all the moves in the offseason, pen to paper, starts to matriculate onto the field. You see all the managers starting to fine-tune themselves going forward for the tail end of the stretch of the season. Halfway there, Detroit City has made some tremendous strides in 2024, specifically on the attacking side. Danny Dicchio said, we want more of the ball. We want to be pragmatic at times for sure, but we want teams to have to chase us. This team was always about grit, defensive-minded, good structure there, but going forward, haphazard of sorts, trying to pick and choose their moments. Well, they've made huge strides, moving 30 yards and in. You move on goals, you move on passes, but it's the conversion rate, Mike. Doesn't matter how much you have the ball, it's how good can you be with it. They are currently second in the league, only trailing Louisville City, who leads the Players' Shield race. Well, how are they able to do that, though? Because you can put all of these systems together, but you have to have guys that are catalysts for all this. That's James Murphy within the midfield, statistically top 5 in all passing categories. It's sideways, it's long ways, it's tackles. He does everything in the engine room. And then your creator, Maxi Rodriguez, who is as spirited as a figure as they come when it comes to attacking players in the USL Championship.
So that's what Birmingham is going to try and slow down tonight. The good news is defensively, especially the last 6, they've been incredible. Their head coach, Tommy Sohn, describing a better understanding what they're looking for on the defensive side of the ball. Notably, they've made a shape change. They've brought in Derek Dodson, but they've also lost their all-league goalkeeper, Matt Van Okel. It means that the 19-year-old Teaneck, New Jersey native, Jaden Hibbert, will make his second start for the club here tonight. The defense has been really good, but the offense needs to improve. Let's go ahead of the curve.
Ironically, this isn't how Tom Sohn wants to play, but you go back 6 games. They were coming off a match against the Tampa Bay Rowdies, a 6-4 loss in the Open Cup. He said, we played well, but we just kind of hung in there. He wants it to be a system, moving side to side, creating depth, that +1 mentality that makes you feel uncomfortable. Most importantly, the utilization of depth. None better recognized than what they do in the following match against the Tampa Bay Rowdies on 1-0 rid on the road. Back to front, side to side, end to end. Birmingham Legion almost perfect in the final third, the last 6 matches.
All right, here we go in Hamtramck. It is Detroit City taking on Birmingham Legion. It's Wednesday night. It's the USL Championship on CBS Sports Network. Pride Month here in Detroit City, celebrating in kind. Birmingham Legion ready to try and take down Detroit for the first time in their history at Keyworth Stadium in Hamtramck. Take a look at the Detroit City lineup. Under Danny Dicchio, 2 changes. Elvis Amo back in the starting 11. Reese Williams in for just the 4th time this year.
A better balance, though, for this Detroit City squad, front to back, controlled by Stephen Carroll on the back line. They'll get their outside backs involved. I'm looking at what goes on in the midfield and whether or not they try and pull into a single pivot, which they've been doing. But the predication of the success of the 9 and Elvis Amo as he comes back in. They've really struggled at the 9 position overall. Tommy Sohn's a similar conversation. We can work top to bottom here. Tyler Pasher, Preston, and Prosper Kasim. More activity, finding a way to be more efficient because everything else behind them, even with the change of Miggy Perez into the midfield, has been very efficient over these last 6 matches.
We're ready to kick off here in Detroit. The Northern Guard ready to support the home side, one that made this a fortress in a number of leagues. Their 3rd season in the championship, and this may be the best iteration yet. The opening whistle on this Wednesday night, and here we go in this week of the championship. Or shall we begin with a false start? Prosper Kasim back in position. There we go. Detroit City and Birmingham Legion side by side in the standings, an enormous 3 points on the line at the end of June. Both sides a little bit short tonight. Dawson McCartney and Jake Roof unavailable for selection. Started in the midfield for Birmingham last game. Stefano Pino is unavailable. That's awkwardly given away. Picked up by Pasher. Tried to play it through to Kasim. Miggy Perez knocked off the ball. All 4 wins in the series by Detroit by a singular goal. That really seemed to chap Tommy Sohn a little bit, didn't it?
And don't let anybody tell you that the previous history has nothing to do with what's going to take place tonight, because I can promise you from experience, you take a lot of pride in carrying momentum like that into a game. Detroit City certainly will. 4 up, 4 down for them. Tommy Sohn and the Birmingham Legion, can they continue this evolution that has seen a system change, that has seen them produce more in the final third? Certainly one of the best defensive units in all of the USL Championship. And Danny Dicchio, his squad, although still trying to figure out exactly what it looks like up top with that target position, have done really well for themselves, specifically watching what they're capable of on the ball in the midfield to be able to spread their opponents side to side.
Here's Perez on loan from St. Louis. And an awkward collision with Matt Sheldon. Sees the ball back into Legion possession. Vida and Cronali center pairing tonight for Birmingham. Here's Reese Williams. Back from Murphy. Knotted out. Belongs to Sheldon. Job. Murphy. Detroit started a perfect 5 wins. The cup set win over the reigning Open Cup champion Houston. Their form suffered following that moment. Here's Levi's. 2 straight wins has them back in the saddle, including a 2-0 win away at Charleston. Notably, Devin, on Saturday, a win in a friendly against Pumas.
Got another notch on the belt.
Why not?
I think the real question for them is going to be as to whether or not they can continue this idea of getting better and better and better, exploring what they really want to do. The good thing is they've been able to change within their matches successfully. I would say the one thing with all that change also comes question marks as to where the consistency will come from as well.
Murphy serving over Hibbert. It did cross the line, a goal kick. Seeking Carroll, captain at the center back position for Detroit.
There's going to be a fair amount of jockeying early on in this game as to what the overall idea will be personnel-wise for both teams within the midfield. And we've alluded to some of the changes, addressed a couple of individuals, but overall, the idea that both of these teams at times can play in that diamond type shape. You talked about it for Birmingham, Mike. Enzo Martinez was the one who's usually involved in that, but in the absence of really having that target 9, they spread out the front line. They'll try and recreate through Tibor Taka Preston and Tyler Pasher rotating while still trying to find moments in Prosper Kasim. And same thing for Detroit City. Maxi Rodriguez spearheading that 10 position, but with the luxury of having James Murphy and Abdoulaye Diop underneath, you can quickly run into that singularity and allow another midfielder to come up high. Causes a lot of frustration for each squad back to front.
Early conversation. Lumped along. Morris. And Hibbert plays it out. Birmingham acknowledged you're going to have to fight for the right to party tonight, or possess as it might be. Once you win that fight, then you can start playing soccer. But this venue begs for you to ultimately scratch and claw your way into games. Bypassing a Mo. Whistle's gone against Morris. Earlier this year when Birmingham and Detroit met, I think that late last year, beg your pardon, clocked at about 21 miles an hour. Crazy wheels on Morris.
It's like you on a Sunday morning run.
For several seconds. Ball lumped into the box. Not to be from Enzo Martinez. Does lead to a corner, however, when the Tyler Pasher rushes to take. If your speed catches people by surprise, it's the lanky legs.
I'm sure that's what it is. As long as I can keep up with your Bulldog, I'll be doing just fine.
That's it. Pasher offering. It's a decent header from Alex Cronali, but never able to get over it.
You talk about the ideas changing going forward for both of these teams, both built on such a quality foundation defensively. Alex Cronali and the partnership of Fanuel Kavita next to him. Seems like one of the symbiotic relationships we've had established over the past couple of years that has also been maintained. Good balance of speed, decision-making, quality distribution, of course, their ability to be impactful on set pieces.
Rodriguez came to the ball. What a spark plug he is. Goals in the last 2 games for Detroit. slaloming his way through. They'll bring this back. It is a foul.
It's an incredible move to stay on his feet, but watch the first cutback here. He catches him flat-footed, coming back across the body. Everybody, Taka Preston has to be smarter there. To be fair, Matt Sheldon had the luxury to go to the end line, but he knows that the speed would have been able to continue for the attacker. Well done to come back to the interior and maintain his momentum.
See what Detroit has in mind. It's a pretty unique place. You've also got a 19-year-old goalkeeper making just his second start in the second division. Ball teed up, dropped over the top by Murphy. Opportunity beckons. Preston overran it. Offside flag raised. Dev, what do you make of the change to the diamond for Birmingham? It's funny talking with Tommy Sohn. This is a guy, he admitted, he goes, I've been around this game long enough, you don't have buy-in from the players. It's never going to work making a change like that. He wanted to play a three-back at the start of the year. That clearly didn't work out. Ultimately lands in this diamond that he admitted he never would have expected his team would be playing this season.
Well, I would say tonight it's a diamond of sorts. You know, they're still trying to find where the pressure points are coming from.
Decent job to even keep that in play, much less get a cross in. And stabbed away from Rodriguez, but advantage play. Jope, and the ball knocked down by Kavita.
The difference tonight is you normally have Enzo Martinez atop that, who will come down and do all the dirty work and then help provide that extension going forward. The former is where you really struggle because you don't want him to come too deep. Well, that changes tonight with the change in personnel. You know, two of the pieces that have been really interesting to work into this team are Jake Roof and Dawson McCartney, but due to injury, they're unavailable for selection tonight. That has been the regular choices within the midfield for Tom Sohn. So now all of a sudden, you've got Kobe Hernandez-Foster deep down in the six. You know that's going to be the number one piece, but everything else is just sort of rotating right now. To be honest, they're having a little bit of trouble with structure. It allows you to be free-flowing going forward, but defensively, too much space that's being conceded unnecessarily.
Rodriguez misfires. Knock suffered there. They'll take a moment. See if we can get a better look at this.
I don't think either one of these managers are really interested in having another discussion about picking up further injury woes. The depth already being tested right now. Kenny Dicchio very direct about how they've got quality within the roster build. They just don't necessarily have the quantity, and
You walk a very fine line. Couple of teams around the USL Championship that do the same. But he has been quite the firecracker coming into 2024. Again, success hasn't necessarily been an issue for this team overall, but long-term, how do you change the identity of a squad that has been defensive-minded? You're trying to add layers to it. You're changing systems. Tom Stone chasing something similar. Been with him every single year since 2019.
Levi's continues to be attended to. Was acquired June last year, so it's about 13 months ago from Tulsa. The way he went down of his own volition makes you think this will probably be the end of the night for him at this rate. If there's any good news, is that that is a position of depth. With Alex Villanueva available off the bench tonight. You've also got the newcomer, Abdi Salim, who could feature as well. It will be Villanueva. 13th appearance, has played 500 minutes this year. Previously in Seattle, came through their academy. A couple years in Tacoma. Had a few games with the Sounders, but it was really in Orange County the last 2 seasons. He got extensive playing time in the championship.
I would even say probably that 2022 year where Richard Chaplow thrust him into that starting position at outside left back, 36 appearances overall. A guy who's not going to lack for speed on that left-hand flank. Just a little less consistency over the past couple of matches that had given Levi's the opportunity to be the regular starter over there.
Villanueva actually ended up playing a little bit as a winger last year. Ryan Dogman came in Orange County, performed well enough. Felt like getting him higher up the field relieved some of those defensive responsibilities. Performed admirably in that spot too. Reese Williams, good move. Williams sends the service, soars into the air. Flicked away by Kasim, but Murphy to backstop. Scoreless between teams sitting 5th and 6th in the championship's Eastern Conference. Top 8 will make the postseason. Skidding down into the corner, beyond the reach of Sheldon. That's middle-aged Sheldon, 31 years old, from Washington, spent last year in Hartford. A Rolling Stone that's gathered no moss, has bounced from team to team over these past few years. Detroit only 1 draw at home, 5 wins in 6 games. Amo, outside Sheldon, rounds the corner, was offside.
Well, the argument from Maxi Rodriguez is that he got clipped before that ball even came through, and I think he's right. Ran right through the player. Of course, the referee plays advantage, and then they're in an offside position. Funny how that works. Really well done here by Maxi Rodriguez to shield himself in front of Enzo Martinez. And that pairing, you know, regardless of shape, but the idea whether it's Miggy Perez or Enzo Martinez coming off either shoulder of Kobe Hernandez-Foster, and how you close that space down because of how good Detroit City have become. Pinching on the outside, allowing the 2 outside backs to get high, and allowing Ben Morris and Reese Williams to provide more pressure in the interior. Very difficult to track all the markers.
Amu Mensah. Wonderful ball. Sheldon. Shoved off by Perez inside from Maxi Rodriguez. Finger wags, play on. Carroll. Birmingham players thought that the offside flag apparently should have been involved in that previous play, perhaps.
100%. Elvis Samoa was pitching a tent just inside the top of the 6. Deft little flick by Maxi Rodriguez. Watch the pressure they can give you too when they want to chase up top. Elvis Samoa is the 9. You and I discussed this at length about what he provides you, not just in terms of the luxury on the goal scoring side of things, but that constant presence where he's got that energy. He's always going to chase, and it allows these wingers to get up high. Maxi Rodriguez pops out. All of a sudden, a 4-man front defensively to shut things down.
Kasim. Pasher, who runs like he's angry at the turf. Martinez runs like he's angry at everything else. Rinaldi. Dummy through. This will find the backside. Patterson crossing. Williams took it into the corner and give it back to Detroit.
And the lead right atop of the 18 threw everybody for a curve here, and this is where Thompson wants to try and see his squad take another step here. It seems they can get about 80–85% of the way up the field, and then things start to really present questions for their team. It feels just off at times, right? They're not in sync. Guys have different ideas. To be fair, when you're changing systems, that also happens. It's difficult to find consistency within that conversation, Mike, because positionally you're in so many different spots.
Pasher was offside. Saldana came off his line on the long ball from Hernandez Foster. And ultimately, you never really know how things turn out. Lead striker for this side ultimately got injured in the first game of the year. Pasher beginning to find his way a bit. This almost feels like a team that was built to have the right parts to be able to do it by committee. Whether it be changing your system, changing your shape, adjusting how you get balls out of midfield and into that front line. But ultimately, you never could have been prepared for Corcoran and Lopez and that aforementioned striker, Mohamed Bouya Touré, to all be missing for this length of time.
They've been unlucky as well in previous years. You know, you take a look at some of the star-studded cast that has come through the doors on both sides. J.J. Williams, Nico Brett, Juan Agadello, you know, guys that have that proven goal-scoring mentality, and unfortunately for Thompson, Jay Heaps in the front office, it just didn't work out for them. Again, it has certainly been much better, though, changing into this 3-man or 4-man midfield diamond shape at times, allowing Enzo Martinez the freedom to go create for Kasim and Pasher up top.
From the darkness, Murphy, Hibbert. Rolls that out quickly, found Martinez. I'll find the swaying supporters. One of the few venues you'll find where the main supporters section is right at midfield. Thank goodness if these supporters given to this club in kind. This team hardly ever loses here, and they certainly play a big role, but the fact the venue is what it is due in large part to the crowd raising that occurred back in 2016. This venue was a FDR-approved Depression-era venue, the first such venue in the state of Michigan. He raised about $750,000 to get this stadium back in working condition in 2016. It's quite the haul. Reaching the end line. You know, everything you see about Welcome to Wrexham and Sunderland Till I Die, the Detroit City version of that would be a lot of fun to watch.
Oh yeah.
Because it feels so very similar to sort of that community feel.
Might need a chaperone.
Yeah, yeah.
But to your point, the passion, the emotion, right? The drive by the supporters off the field, certainly. We've seen it translate to qualitative results on the field, and any manager in the USL Championship will tell you it's one of the more difficult places to come and play. Never forget my conversation last year with Danny Cruz, the head coach of Louisville City, and he talked about what in his eyes reminded him of that second, third division in Europe, and the local community being bought in, the concrete, right? Everything, the working class surrounding you, and the fans are on top of you, makes it that much more difficult to find any sort of rhythm within the match.
I asked their former head coach, current sporting director, crowd oohs and ahs at the referee eating turf pellets inadvertently. As this comes to Williams to try and describe Keyworth in just a couple of words. That's a foul for Martinez. Said it's impossible. Foul from Martinez, who doth protest too much. Free kick.
It's got to be the second one. It's the push, and then right there.
It's on Perez. It was Martinez arguing the point, however.
And again, he does get the ball at the end of it, but it's the initial push off which causes the referee to take a bit of intrigue into the situation. And then the first follow through, second infraction.
Bunch of games with Atlanta United 2 in Next Pro is looking for the next challenge. Matt Van Oekel going down, and no Trevor Spangenberg for the last couple months. Hibbert, second start with Birmingham. Rodriguez. Select is the official match ball supplier of the USL Championship and many elite leagues throughout Europe. Visit us.select-sport.com. The latest Select products, specials, and more. Select, the player's choice. Hibbert's already debuted with the Jamaican senior national team at 19 years old. That was in the absence of Andre Blake, longtime Philadelphia goalkeeper, but also Jamali Wade in El Paso has seen some time in that position the last year and a half as well. Pranali. You and I spoke with Tommy Sohn, and he indicated Hibbert is certainly not afraid to play the ball at his feet.
Maybe a little bit, fancies himself a little bit more than he should, right?
Any young goalkeeper, there's a lesson to be learned at some point. It's just, when are you going to learn it?
Well, at least the manager was kind enough to give him direction. Some guys overshoot in that area, start to make a young player fearful. Not the case.
Sheldon turns on the Jets and bangs it off Perez for a corner.
Yeah, when in doubt, just get rid of it, right? If you feel uneasy, if it looks a little bit inappropriate, just reset the lines. Allow your defensive unit to push itself up and regain structure. And that's the real question mark now, right? Is we could talk about the attacking side, but defensively, with the loss of USL Championship great Matt Van Oekel in goal, can you maintain the same sort of organization and consistency in his absence?
Corner for Detroit. Swing over the penalty spot and miss hit by Ben Morris. You know, if there's upside in losing Van Oekel, it's that you've got two of the most experienced center backs in the league in front of him in Kavita and Cronali. That's going to cover up a lot of those early communication issues from a guy who only arrived a couple weeks ago in goal. Pressure coming in waves from Detroit. Birmingham has jumped through it. Hangs up on Pasher. Back heel leads Kassim. Amumensa. Job. He could be all league this season, Danny Dicchio proclaimed. That's the fun part about this Detroit team. Are they the deepest in the league by number? No. And yet how many coaches do you have say not having that giant talent gap between the top and bottom of your roster, having such a steady general level of ability, gives you a ton of flexibility, lets you match up in different ways, and lets you bounce back from whatever injuries or lack of availability you might face. Villanueva trots forward.
I would say you have to be very careful of that gray area that you could cross over into that could get you in trouble in that conversation, though. Real quick, Charleston Battery, a team that have had to deal with that, right? We'll talk about them at halftime and their upcoming battle next week on CBS Sports Network against the Birmingham Legion.
Different times this year, Charleston's been down 3-4 starting caliber pieces. Not that either of these managers would shed a tear. Williams. Martinez. Kasim.
Better shape about themselves now, the Birmingham Legion. Enzo Martinez just pinching off that right-hand side, and it's actually Prosper Kasim underneath who's floating. Simple numbers game on the inside, 4v3. Detroit haven't been able to counteract.
Hasher swings the service, had the late run coming. Couldn't combine with Preston Tabor-Ditaka.
It's where the aggression just has to come up a couple of levels. Conversation with Reese Williams, Ben Morris, when they start to get pinched in a little bit, that's fine. Are you going to go to step? Are you going to flatten your shape out, keep the game in front of you, make this more of a side-to-side, and you're willing to concede possession? Something that Danny Dicchio, very clear, they're trying to gain more every single time they step onto the pitch. Make it difficult for the opposing team and chase.
Amumensa. And if you're Danny Dicchio, you leave a really good job in Sacramento on Mark Briggs' staff. You know you could be there for the long term for this first opportunity to manage, but it also comes with expectation. We talk about the lack of depth, but the reality is for Detroit, playoffs are a minimum. And with the increase in talent top to bottom on this roster, they feel like a top 4 position should be their goal. That'd mean a home playoff game for the first time in the championship for them. Of course, they shocked Pittsburgh Riverhounds last year, the 1-8 game, the Eastern Conference playoffs. Dominic Gasso, the late winner in that. Stridently into the area, Amumensa knocked it down. Out to Rodriguez. Hernandez Foster nearly took it away. Rodriguez retained, Morris leaving off. And grabbed by Birmingham. Siphoned off by Villanueva. Another packed house here in Hamtramck. So it's gone. We can tell you if you can't watch the match, turn on SiriusXM FC channel 157. It's North America's only 24/7 source for engaging soccer talk, including USL All Access Tuesdays at 8 p.m. Eastern, plus your live matches from the USL, MLS, Premier League, and more, all on SiriusXM FC 157 and the new SiriusXM app. Pushed across, Sheldon. Onto his left, pings the service. That would have been better left to escape the line. Whip back in off the foot of Morris. By the way, our interviewee this week on All Access, the outgoing head coach at Orange County, transferred to Lyngby in his native Denmark, Morten Carlson, speaking to us. Well, he got a new passport, I guess would be the best way to describe it.
What did he call the gentleman at the...
His savior.
His savior, yeah.
Consulate in LA.
And his family are the Ducklings.
Indeed.
We're going to miss him. The USL Championship will miss him. Great personality.
Preston Tabor Itaka battling away with Amu Mensah and winning a corner for all that effort.
And one of the things with the aggression within Danny Dicchio's system is Villanueva and Matt Sheldon come high. There's space over there, and it's been smartly picked up in this situation by Preston. Very much side to side in the opening 25 minutes. That saw him and Pasher switching frequently. A bit more luxury for Pasher to roam, but Preston Tabor Itaka primarily operating on that right-hand flank now.
The Mo draws the unenviable position on Kavita. Ball for the near post. He came crashing down for it. And Hernandez Foster, the help of Hibbert. Quiet opening 36 minutes.
Oh.
Renali, a whistle. It's going to be quite a physical battle. The Mo's missed some time this year, and Cronali. Hit to Preston Tabor Itaka. Yeah, the flag was up. As always, offside.
Just got to hold that space a little bit sooner on the far side. Derek Dotson came high, and as he continued to go, Tyler Pasher comes in. It opens up a world of opportunities, but because the run goes so early, you close down the chance to find any sort of rhythm down into the corner. That's what I was talking about. Notice how he drags Villanueva with him. Actually impedes the path of both Tyler Pasher and the ability to get the ball back to the outside. It forces your front line to come on the diagonal, moves them away from net. You wait a half second too long and you get yourself into trouble. You play that ball sooner, Pasher then becomes part of the attack. Three options that can come square across the middle.
Amo. Turn down the overlap. Chips it inside. Angling for space through now. Williams turns, fires, scores! Reese Williams. A remarkable individual effort to put Detroit City ahead.
The timing is everything, and we were just talking about the poor decision-making on one end, but this is about Villanueva and how quickly he can find that outlet ball coming up through the middle. Watch how fast he releases to the interior as he finds the square ball back across. That opens up all the space atop the box. You then have to find a way in hold-up play to be strong enough on the secondary ball coming back through. Activity level, everything. The 9. I told you, Elvis Amo, even in the absence of goals from him, you're going to get production. Grabs 2 players from Birmingham, but also opens up that space right through the center of the defense. Kavita's a little bit slow in rotation, coming back over, and really well done here on the diagonal. Then the half pivot by Williams to come across the body and into the bottom corner. Forces Hibbert to shuffle his feet, can't get back across, and Detroit into the lead.
So Reese Williams, who has climbed through the ladder of American soccer after a 4-year run at Columbia, on the ball again. Shipping early. Rodriguez allows this through. On the attack again, short of Rodriguez, deflects toward Williams. He'll not get a second crack.
You go back for a second, Mike. You talked about Reese Williams and his time at Columbia. That's a Kevin Anderson product. And Danny Dicchio talking about the then head coach and specifically the relationship on how he vets these players. They're going deep into the background. This is very much a narrative forced in Louisville in the best of ways of just because a good player is available doesn't necessarily mean we're going to go get them. We have to understand, what are they like as people off the field, their family life. Kevin Anderson, back then at Columbia, recruited those types of individuals. Smart, savvy, and good players.
First goal in 93 games for Reese Williams, dating back to USL League One with Lansing Ignite in 2019. And just his second league goal in totality.
Another Nate Miller product into the USL Championship. Shocking.
Warms your heart. Ironically, he actually started his career with Real Monarchs in the championship, which is where you'll find Nate Miller these days, out in Salt Lake City, working with RSL. Williams nods this down, the sunset, picturesque here in Detroit. Appeal for handball, it's gone. It's gonna be a yellow for dissent. Fifth yellow card of the year to James Murphy's. Still 3 shy of being concerned about accumulation suspension.
It's not often you see the pocket of James Murphy get picked. Well done by Enzo Martinez to just recognize how quickly they were trying to move up to the center of the park. And to me, that's got to be one of, if not the most undervalued midfielder in the USL Championship. Just his efficiency rate on the ball, ground coverage, and the ability he gives everybody around him to go and explore what this game truly means to themselves moving forward. Great relationship next to Abdoulaye Diop in the midfield for Detroit.
All whipped in at Saldana. 35 minutes, sends a shot for Birmingham. That should clear that ledger. Carroll. Out of play. Coming up at halftime, we'll take a look at highlights and stats from this opening half of play. We'll also walk you through the upcoming summer of soccer in the USL. We'll see about 15 games on CBS and ESPN networks.
You gonna be around to hang out with me for that? At least a couple?
We'll see you on next Wednesday night.
Well, then you're on sabbatical.
There will be a mini sabbatical.
You negotiated that in the offseason.
Yes.
I wasn't wise enough.
It's because you're a glutton for punishment, Devin. Speaking of, I'll be back in time for us to jet set for the 2 games on CBS, 2 weeks apart. Final week of July, we're out in Oakland. First week of August, we'll be right here in Detroit. August 3rd, Detroit and Rhode Island on CBS. Dodson bumping into Villanueva. Birmingham coming off a huge win, 3-0 against San Antonio. A side that's been languishing with injuries. International duty have hit them especially hard. Out to Pasher. It's only the 4th goal they've conceded in the last 7 games. All inside toward Martinez. The attempt at the return got blown up. 4 added minutes at the end of the first half. Here's a Mo. Williams, the goal scorer. Rebuffed by Kavita, up to a Mo. Knocked in for Rodriguez, but caught by Hibbert. Long diagonal, didn't reach Pasher. Got beneath it again. Pasher. Ball knocked down by Dodson, arriving at the back post and deflected out for a corner.
Really the first different look, though, that we've seen from this Birmingham Legion team, and it took 45 minutes to do so. You know, the idea that you can get Derek Dodson into advanced positions is certainly something they are very interested in, but unfortunately, he's been marked up because of the high line of Ben Morris and the movement by Elvis Amo. You got to create balance, Mike. Keep Detroit guessing. Much better look coming forward.
Pasher, Martinez stand over the ball. And the whistle's gone, middle of the penalty area. It's against Dodson. Nev, what do you make of the Joe Murphy midfield for Detroit? They really are the linchpins of that thing in the center of the park.
I think they're incredible. Right, I talked about being undervalued if you're James Murphy and what the relationship is next to him with Abdoulaye Diop. Again, it's a luxury that a lot of managers don't have, to have 2 such valued performers in that 6'8" position.
Preston Tabor Itaka spotted Pasher, grabbed by Saldana.
And right now, Denny Dicchio, although up 1-0, they're just trying to find better rhythm in their patterns of play, because you know they're winning 50-50s and then it's a one-off going the other way. Outside of the goal, you really haven't seen a team build. So to establish more position as they head into the second half, take some of the ball movement away from the Birmingham Legion. Allow Elvis Mo to push up high in that back line and then get the rest of your support to come forward. Legion defensively are pretty organized. You know, there's really one chink in the armor that has caused that go-ahead goal for Detroit City. Their problem's actually on the other end, and it's trying to find a way, as the narrative has always been, to get that front 3 on the same page. Prosper Kasim has not been on the ball enough. He's basically acting as their 10. Enzo Martinez is wandering way too much. And Tommy Sohn said that it's a great, great pleasure to have him in our team because he can do everything, but we don't need him to do everything. In the second half, lock down positionally where you want him on that right side of the diamond and try and play through each other.
And that's the change in role with Roof and McCartney out. Just stay home a little bit more. That is a lot of twisted bodies, and they'll allow that to play out. An instance of two wrongs making a right. And now pushing and shoving. There is no VAR in the championship, and so as this hits fever pitch, what the officials see is what will be.
Forget about what goes on after the fact. I was a little surprised they let this ball get whipped into the box to begin with because there was certainly contact. It's Derek Dotson to Jope, and as he comes to the right, there's not a ton in it, is there? It's that after the fact, AJ Patterson trying to make friends. No interest.
Hibbert in the middle of it. Carroll continuing to voice his displeasure. Dodson still down. Take a look at the right side of your screen here.
Again, it's Derek Dotson as he comes through. Where's the elbow? Where's the arm? I don't think there's enough in that, Mike. He just starts to lean, right?
Am I wrong in saying that the referee had conversed with them on every previous set piece?
Yeah.
Rather than let this boil over, they'll simply take this to halftime. A lot of hurt feelings here at the intermission. And if that wasn't a proper way of describing the first half, I don't know what is. Physical, between two sides that have played so many tightly contested games. Detroit City grabbed the lead in the 39th minute. All these games in hand, they want to make them worth their while. They continue to jump in the East. They're up 1-0 at the half. Welcome back to Detroit halftime on CBS Sports Network. Detroit City trying to tack on a third straight win, 1-0 at halftime over Birmingham Legion. Welcome back on this Wednesday night here on CBS Sports Network. That's Devin Kerr, Mike Watts as well. Not a lot in terms of chances in that first half, but some hurt feelings at the end. What do you make of the 45?
I would say defensively, both teams are pretty structurally sound, but they played afraid. It didn't seem like they had really sort of any interest to go forward with enthusiasm. There were a couple of chances, though, in the first half. We should actually start with the visitors and Birmingham Legion because the whole idea of their success going forward, Tommy Sohn very clear, and the last 6 games very clear. It's about balance, depth, and trying to create mismatches, specifically on the outside. Once again, beautiful distribution coming out of the midfield from Kobe Hernandez-Foster. The best 2 chances in the first half for Birmingham came in the exact same fashion. This one is a high line from A.J. Patterson. They have no presence up top. You're set defensively at your Detroit. Second one was Pasher to the back post of Derek Dodson. Couldn't pick up there either. But let's go to the goal now. And Detroit, really the first time they had any sort of real rhythm and quality pattern within them. Quickly off the back line, Villanueva finds the 9, and that's where the space starts to come. That's the 5 to 7 yard gap that you see that develops between Fanuel Kavita and Alex Crognali. You lure one of the center backs out, trying to chase the 9, trying to chase the space. Beautiful ball right through the middle by Ben Morris, and then goal into the bottom corner by Reese Williams. Perfect execution by Detroit City.
For Williams, his 126th professional appearance, and just his second goal comes in the 38th. Birmingham more the possession, but Detroit more of the opportunity through 45 minutes. Halftime, good reason to lift the smoke here in Detroit. A 1-0 lead over Birmingham at the intermission. This just the beginning of a summer of soccer on CBS and ESPN networks for the USL Championship League One. Take a look at wonderful summer ahead next. Detroit, Michigan on this Wednesday night. Detroit with a 1-0 lead over Birmingham Legion at halftime here on CBS Sports Network. Welcome back into the booth, everybody, and welcome to the Summer of Soccer. Truly, it's remarkable, the USL's both regional position within the television landscape among all 24 of their clubs. They have a current TV deal, but also on the national stage. Last year, Dev, it was about 10 games. This year, between TUDN, between CBS Sports Network, ESPN2, we're talking nearly 50 games on national television. A lot of them come in the next, let's call it 45 days.
I would take it a step further and combine everything that you just said with what is going to be the next 2 years, and arguably the most impactful that we'll ever see in American soccer, and the eyeballs that are going to be on the USL Championship, a tremendous opportunity that is only just getting started.
How about we show you some of the upcoming action over the next week and a half here to kick off our Summer of Soccer. Sacramento, one of the final unbeatens in the league, taking on Las Vegas Lights, who look renewed.
Joey Bats goes in, and a team that leads the league in passing and one of the most efficient, still finding their way. They've been very fun to watch, but they're going to be matched up against the Sacramento Republic squad that is one of the most balanced in all the USL Championship. The question for them is going to be, with the loss of Roro Lopez due to the ACL injury, can they create that leadership aspect throughout the rest of the team? Colorado Springs, Switchbacks FC, and FC Tulsa the next day at 9 o'clock Eastern on CBS Sports Network. Here's the difference about Colorado Springs this year. One of the greatest quotes I've ever heard. We may give up 99 goals, but we're going to score 100. Now, they don't have to worry about that. Top 10, both defensive and attacking in the USL Championship. Tulsa, they got to get Phil Goodrup scoring.
James Chambers has done an epic job turning that thing around. That's on the 4th of July. Meanwhile, maybe you just need a little time to yourself on the 5th. In Charleston, Birmingham, the perfect way to do it on ESPN2.
Could be a prelude to a playoff matchup as well. Still very difficult to go get a result against the reigning Eastern Conference champions, who they're a bit scathed right now. They're 6 games winless in all competitions, but there's only 3 losses in that time frame. They've been tested by injuries. They're just looking to reestablish the rhythm for the beginning of the year that sees a very expansive squad in the Birmingham Legion team that is just trying to find that continuation from Tommy Sohn.
They're trying to figure it out right now against Detroit City on the road. ECFC ahead by 1 on the Williams goal. The second half is coming up. Wouldn't be Keyworth Stadium without a train in the background. Meanwhile, Detroit City in command. A 1-0 lead at halftime. They have largely silenced the Birmingham attack as we prepare to kick off this second half tonight. Gorgeous night, wonderful atmosphere. This is what the championship is all about. Number 5 and number 6 in the Eastern Conference. Detroit City hosting Birmingham Legion. With Devin Kerr, Mike Watts on hand, all bouncing through, and to Morris. Run of Rodriguez to knock it back wide. And this will carry him all the way back to Hibbard. Detroit City, 12 points out of first place Louisville, but they have 4 games in hand on that logjam at the top of the Eastern Conference. Louisville City in good position, 5 points up. Then Charleston, Indy 11, just had their 8-game win streak snapped by Orange County. Legion now have been held scoreless in the opening half for the 13th time in 15 games. That is most in the championship. Meanwhile, Detroit unbeaten when they lead at halftime. 4 wins and a draw. Morris. A lot of pushing and shoving, and the whistle's gone. It's Perez who was grappled with.
And interestingly enough, in the first half, Mike, you wanted to see more activity out of guys like Maxi Rodriguez, Elvis Amo, certainly Prosper Kasim. That's not a knock on those individuals, though. It's more so how tight it was on the inside of the field. So more aggression on the outside is going to open up space in the center of the field. It's going to allow you to find more of those movements.
You mentioned Kasim didn't touch the ball enough in that first half. Team low, 17 touches. Ball across for the aforementioned Kasim. Bounces through to Dodson. Back to Kasim. High for Pasher. Hernandez, Foster, Kavita. Preston Tabor Itaka navigating, firing. Well, that's a rare chance in this game for the Legion, and perhaps a good omen for the second half.
Remember, I was just talking about how quickly, if you work to the outside, that space is going to open up through the middle. The cutback across, that second touch, the way that he brings it laterally in front of James Murphy, almost has to come negative to come get it, and shocked that this does not hit frame. Again, the space is there if you're willing to be a bit adventurous in your thought process.
Saw that stat at the top of your screen. 23rd out of 24 teams in conversion for Birmingham. Meanwhile, Detroit, second in the league only to Louisville City at 18% conversion rate. Mensah. Actually a positive deflection off of Kasim. Detroit made 1 change in the opening half. It was due to injury. Levi's off, Villanueva on. Birmingham unchanged going into the second half. Morris. Williams. Flicks that across. Mo was running toward it. Never could have expected that get through. Carroll. Only one other game in the championship tonight. What if I told you Rhode Island has woken up from their half-season slumber off a 5-2 win at Louisville City. They lead 2-0 against El Paso late in the first half tonight. Albert Dikwa, the reigning most outstanding player, Golden Boot winner, scoring in the 21st. Jojo Pizarra in the 27th. Suddenly, Rhode Island is flying.
And decisions are everything, and I said the space is there for you to take it. Now, it's about understanding some of these movements from Danny Dikio. They got to find a way, either through Abdoulaye Diop or James Murphy, to be that extension. Look right atop the 18. Defensively, you've gotten everything that you've wanted if you're Detroit. You've compressed them to about 8 yards and in, and there's a 5 to 10 yard gap atop the box for either Diop or Murphy to step right in through. When that ball comes back across, Mike, all the space is available. You don't necessarily have to hit it yourself, but you can step in, take it by your lonesome, or step on it, circulate to the other side, keep shifting Birmingham.
Martinez. Devin Amu-Mensah sweeping it away. He was unbelievable in the upset win over Houston, around of 32 of the Open Cup. Lifted forward, Kavita muscling Morris. Detroit sprinting the other way. Well, that's a wasteful effort. There's Hernandez Foster. You're right, Dev. That first half, he was really the real playmaker for Birmingham. Not that there were a lot of plays made. I remember talking to Tommy Sohn back in March, shortly after the former U.S. Under-17 arrived. Spent time at Wolfsburg, went to Norway the last couple of years. He said, I'm still learning about him. I'm still trying to figure out where he fits in this group best. Ball through, that's brilliant. Into the penalty area, Saldana, the kick save. Ball hung up to the backside, snapped down by Dodson. And an obvious foul from A.J. Patterson. That's the best chance of the night by far for Birmingham in the 53rd.
Again, it all starts on the outside here. That's where all the success for both of these teams are coming from. It's like a heartbeat. They pump them out, all of a sudden you start to shift a little bit, space starts to open up. You find the 1-2 down into the corner. Can't really be critical because the mark coming back across the box is eliminated in a 2v1. You're already in a one-on-one situation. You're just trying to open up your hips and pick out that far corner, but well taken by Saldana in goal.
Saldana, starting for the third time in the league, was the cup keeper for Detroit. Nate Steinwasser, the longtime starter for the group, relegated to the bench the last few games. Danny Dikio coached Saldana during his assistant stint in Sacramento. Backed up Danny Vitiello. Chipped in for Pasher. Trying to create danger by his lonesome, forces Carroll to put it out. Saldana both made a critical save in that shootout against Houston in the Open Cup. Also scored the winner. A couple of clean sheets in his 2 league starts. Hernandez Foster shipping inside. Kasim from his hindquarters.
Give credit to the manager, Danny Dikio, rocking the boat a little bit in Detroit.
Nate Steinwasser is a Sharpie player.
Yeah, he said that he felt like we were a little bit on a sticky run after a long layoff of games.
Driving in, Tabor Itaka, spinning, Martinez, that's not to be.
All of a sudden, a couple of results don't go our way. We conceded some goals, though not necessarily all Nate Steinwasser's fault. Needed to find a way to rotate a few players, and he was one of them. You know, the message early for this group was, I want competition. I want you guys to understand that this isn't signed, sealed, delivered every single time that lineup card comes in. You're going to challenge for that number 1. And although Nate had been very consistent, they wanted to push him, wanted to bring in another number one. They go get Saldana from Sacramento Republic. He's done just that and more. Now you have the luxury of 2 quality goalkeepers.
Saldana, 27 years old, last 3 seasons in Sacramento. 22 starts, winning 9 of them, but was excellent last year. 4 starts, 3 clean sheets. Nice grab. Oh, there.
Foul throw.
Yeah.
Didn't drag his foot from the stands. Right in front of the official as well. Come on.
And that's why they're proudly America's most hated supporters group. So the sign says.
That's one version of it, sure. What a move.
Preston Tabor-Itaka got X'd out for a moment. Now getting toward the end line. Serves this up. Dodson didn't get it quite right. Still alive. Back toward the spot. Martinez. That's blocked. Man who scored 30 goals for Birmingham. Header smashed down by Kavita. Not overcooked. Tabor-Itaka remains down behind the play. Detroit preparing a couple of changes. The attention will turn to Preston Tabor-Itaka for the moment. I don't know if you agree with this, but the Detroit City script on the jersey as opposed to the crest, count me in on that.
100%.
Reese Williams' day is done. 39th minute go-ahead goal. His first for Detroit City, just his second as a professional.
Smart positionally too, because when Elvis Amos stepped out of here, you needed one of the players, and usually that's Maxi Rodriguez who could go take a high line, but he had dropped down in to create, and so Williams comes in from the outside right flank, recognized the space in between the 2 center backs, buried it in the bottom corner. And that's the separation that we're currently sitting on still.
Ryan Williams into the game. Not that that should cause any confusion.
Little R&R.
You and I were looking at the lineup graphic pregame going, should we put in like like a first initial, and then we realized that's a problem. And
Same thing.
All of a sudden you're getting a couple of initials in here and you're going, the number should be enough.
Yeah, all of a sudden we've worked our way into Brazil and we just call him by one name, Reese and Ryan. Put that on the back of the jersey. Why not?
Now, notably, Villanueva came on for an injured Brett Levi's in the first half. So this is the second window utilized by Detroit. They'll get Yazid Matthews into the game as well. Places Elvis Amo, who's still coming back from injury. Exits about an hour into the game.
He got 60 minutes out of him, and certainly a ton of praise has to go to him on goal creation because of his work off the ball and the ability to slip him in through. Again, well read by Williams. But in terms of his ability to create on his own and try and create separation for himself against that back line, not the best of nights for him. It'll come, though.
It's a very short bench tonight for Birmingham. 4 deep among field players. They're down 3 players that could well start on a given night. And an additional 3 players have been out long term. Tabor-Itaka jogging gingerly in the middle of your screen. Here's Ryan Williams. Martinez, Tabor Itaka. Long run for Williams to get back into it. Tabor Itaka, bouncer at Saldana. Easily swallow up. The USL Championship is on CBS Sports and ESPN platforms all season long. Catch live matches and expert analysis every day. CBS Sports Golazo Network and ESPN Plus. Go to USLChampionship.com. Complete USL TV listings. For Detroit, they'll go to Miami on the weekend. For Birmingham, they will host Louisville on Saturday night before going to Charleston on July the 5th, the game you'll see on ESPN2. Lobbed over the top, Rodriguez, that's clever stuff. Murphy, out of the reach of Morris. Summer of soccer continues. Richmond and Madison, big game there. The Henny Derby, CBS Sports Network next Wednesday night. And the nightcap of our USL doubleheader, Sacramento and Las Vegas. 4th of July, we'll share the festivities as the Switchbacks welcome Tulsa. And then we're on CBS, July 21st, Oakland and Sacramento. And then back here in Detroit, DCFC and Rhode Island. You know, maybe it's the big CBS broadcast network debuts that's got these teams flying now. Oakland, ever since that was announced, also came with a coaching change, to be fair.
Keep going.
Has caught fire under Gavin Glitton. And how about Rhode Island all of a sudden? Take out Louisville, and then you're 2-0 up on El Paso at halftime here tonight. So after all those draws, it appears they've found their way. Reaching.
There's a step stool somewhere in this room. Let's put it that way. Use it.
Danny Dicchio looks on. It was excellent chatting with him about why Detroit, why right now. Spoke about the misconceptions about this city, about how it was always difficult to come play here. He had to do so with Sacramento. But that first opportunity to be a head coach and a chance to be a little closer to family in Toronto. It all lined up for Danny. 49-year-old off to a good start here in Detroit. Meanwhile, Morrison Dotson. Dotson. Fell toward Pasher, Villanueva getting creative. And just got launched the tail end. Gonna draw a yellow to Pasher.
That's certainly no stranger for Tyler Pasher, and some of the explosions that we've seen from him in years past. More enjoyable ones tickling the nylon. This one of the emotional side. What a journey he's had, Tyler Pasher. Right? You're looking at a guy that starts his youth career with Newcastle United and moves to Toronto. Certainly the Ontario native, familiar with the territories, but the idea that maybe you can make your way into the Premiership and then all of a sudden you go from those two youth clubs, you end up in Finland, bounce around a couple of USL Championship squads, the Pittsburgh Riverhounds, Swope Park Rangers, work your way onto an MLS roster. The great times that were from 2018 to 2020 that saw 24 goals for Tyler Pasher, earning him another opportunity in MLS with Houston Dynamo. He's sort of been searching ever since, and you talked a little bit about it earlier, Mike. just recreating in the aggregate.
Falls toward Matthews and scooped up by Hibbert.
That aggregate would be, in theory, heavily influenced by Tyler Pasher and that magical wand on the left foot of his.
This was a guy who was working 12-hour shifts in residential steel construction, and he was coming out of the Toronto Academy. I was actually speaking with the maybe most colorful figure in the game in this country, figuratively and literally, Thomas Rongen. A little bit about it in part because Rongen was the academy director when Pasher was coming through Toronto. His commitment to being a professional soccer player at that point in time was just so abundantly obvious. The Ontario native ended up in Pittsburgh, couple of finals, Swope Park Rangers, and then to your point, blew up in Indy, good run in Houston as well. He'll be the guy when he gets hot. He is scorching. Hernandez Foster. Here is Pasher. Blocked by Villanueva. Kasim lets it go by. Martinez stepping through. Play on. Pasher will hear the jeers.
They've gone a bit more aggressive on the front line here with Maxi Rodriguez in the new channel.
Joe leads the charge. Villanueva, cutback ball. That's a hair behind.
And this is going to be where it could cost them. It's the recovery defending like that because of the space. You're going to have to be aggressive, just like Matt Sheldon coming off the back line. But with the higher lines that you're going to get from Rodriguez and Ben Morris in the wide channels, it's a little bit more pressure on the width, but it's that risk reward. If you can find a way to get through those breaking points, you're going to create the mismatches numerically coming the other direction in the counters.
Birmingham bringing on Moses Mensah. Even Wegbo off the bench as well. So only 4 available field players tonight due to a cascading injury report for Birmingham. And they just made 2 of those changes right here. At this point, they're down to Finn Callaway, and Hamoda is available off the bench as well. They've played a combined 31 minutes this year. I think a lot of eyes on Miggy Perez. Thoughts on how his night went, the loanee from St. Louis, just 19.
And not the best. Certainly, it was a key player that I went after in a positive way, of course, with Tom Soden. Just say, where does he fall into this whole thing? And he said the biggest issue that we're having right now is trying to find a way to get him up to speed athletically. That, ironically, coming from a Red Bull-ish system from St. Louis City under Bradley Carnell, wasn't in the best of game shape. Not training at the intensity they thought he would, and that takes time. And with a lot of the movement coming through the middle and having to cover so much ground, just really couldn't get on the ball that much, have an impact.
Perez improving in fitness. Sohn gave a lot of credit to Dan Barlow, who leads the strength and conditioning for the Legion. Take a look at Sheldon and Tabor Itake getting tied up. The crowd does not like the whistle nor the added yellow card.
Just wondering as to whether or not with the changes by Tom Sohn, if they're going to chase the idea of more of a three at the back look. Again, you have that ability with A.J. Patterson out on that far hand side, but if you don't, then you're asking Moses Mensah to play out of position, which they've done with a couple of players this year. Certainly Jake Roof and Dawson McCartney and their success in front of Kobe Hernandez-Foster come to mind.
And Wegbo turned away. Mensah sends it all the way back. Detroit will go away to Miami on the 29th, Saturday night. Game you'll see on ESPN Plus. So available on local TV in both markets. Same can be said of Birmingham's home match against Louisville City. Saturday night, 7:30 Eastern Time. Splits the defenders, and that is a regrettable conclusion. Maxi Rodriguez has a lot of words for himself.
Oh, it's two parts here. Number one, he wanted the ball on the deck, but he recognizes the fact that he still gets it wrong. And a bit fortunate here for James Murphy. Maxi Rodriguez thought he hit that clean, and instead the pressure that comes off just pops it right through that back line. He knows follow through, stay down on the ball, and you've got your 2-goal lead. Just rushes it, leaning back a touch, and left wanting.
Rodriguez has scored 5 times in 5 separate games. All Detroit City wins this year. He's got the Midas touch. Dodson, acquired on loan from Minnesota, was a critical component for Ben Pierman's Charleston Battery last year, ultimately reaching the final. I saw that transaction hit the wire and my jaw dropped. What an ad for Birmingham. Asher, slow roller into Nwegbo. He'll strike that. At Saldana.
Derek Dodson just ran into a buzzsaw, which was an influx of players in quality as well as a coaching change in Minnesota United that prohibited him from making his way into the first team. And, you know, that tactical change where they wanted to play in a wingback system, he was probably 4th, maybe even 5th on the depth chart. So he's above the level with the MLS Next Pro squad and just didn't have the ability to break into Eric Ramsey's team. This is a good spot for him, though, where he's going to be challenged 2 ways, much as he was in Charleston.
Detroit without a shot in this second half. It's not officially. Felt like that Maxi Rodriguez effort would have fit. And there's something to be said for that coaching change, relieving Inchy, right? Adrian Heath of his duties there. It's a guy who came out of the USL, understood that there was a market to be exploited there. Murphy. You, I'm sure, remember back 2019, right? Marino's going to fold, and how many guys end up making the late loan move to Minnesota because they want to get an extensive look at a handful of guys.
Think about how all of this ties together when you take Adrian Heath back into the USL Championship, of course, then at the helm of
Orlando and Austin.
But with Orlando City specifically before their entrance into the USL Championship, they ran the gamut better than the best of them. Let's make it very, very clear. One of the best to ever do it a couple of years running. And when they did depart for MLS, their rights, Louisville City.
And that's why they usually wear purple, although some fans are a bit perturbed by the recent inclusion of blue in their kits. I find them sporty. It's a third kit. What are you gonna do?
Just squint, changes the color.
Yeah. eFootball 2024 is here. Live your dream, rep your team, play as your favorite USL Championship club. eFootball is free to play, so download now. Some Wegbo making friends.
This whole front line is struggling to find any sort of rhythm together, switching side to side. Wegbo, Pasher, Preston Tabor-Taka. Slow on the recovery on Matt Sheldon. Had himself a good night so far, Matt Sheldon.
I don't know, it was tougher there on Sheldon, that initial contact, or the way Mensah ended up landing on him at the tail end.
That's definitely the latter.
All tipped in behind. That'll find the tracks.
Oh, how's your touch?
Got beneath Pasher. Martinez. To switch the point, Dodson lashing.
That's great ball movement, though, by Kobe Hernandez-Foster. We talk about how clean he is and really getting this attack going. But as he comes up in this advanced position, Moses Mensah trailing back a little bit. Delicate little touches atop the 18. Never hurts, by the way, when you're looking for a goal that you've got Enzo Martinez sitting on 72 regular season career USL Championship goals. That's 7th all time.
Service whipped in for Birmingham. Back post, ball knotted back across. And the clearance toward the halfway line. Mensah. Detroit seeking a third straight clean sheet win. Had the friendly against Pumas, and now we're really cooking. Pasher slips it ahead, and Wegbo. In in front, knocked away. Carroll floated back toward Pasher. It's a really clever touch to get that in a dangerous position, but Pasher puts it right on Saldana.
Where does it come from, though? Once again, Kobe Hernandez-Foster. Look at the fight against Job. Just really well done. Not only unbalances the player, but unbalances the shape. That's where Villanueva gets himself caught. He's ball watching, comes to the inside. Space available on the outside, well worked back across. You know, Pasher can't get enough onto it, but that's very well done by the Legion.
Amu Mensah getting forward. Sends the service, knocked down. Yazid Matthews goes across the face of Morris. Skitters away. That looks eerily familiar to how Detroit got back into the Open Cup game against Houston as well.
How many times do we see that in previous iterations of this team as well? Devin Mensah coming high, getting involved in these flank attacks. Beautiful touch right there to provide that extension away from Enzo Martinez, who is absolutely gassed. Timing a little off on the run by Z Matthews, who expects this thing to be atop the 6, so you can't necessarily blame him.
Corner for Detroit. Ricocheted off of Patterson, ultimately skips back to Williams. Sends the service. Out it away, Kavita. Martinez. Off that of Villanueva. Job. And he got by Martinez too. Mensah tracking him. This is a clinic. And launches this up. Punched away by Hibbard. Williams dips in. Pasher plays ahead. All toward frame, getting wide from Preston Tabordi-Taka. He was waiting at that post, not to be.
You know, you question the change with Moses Mensah because of the lack of depth on the bench, but it has allowed Kobe Hernandez-Foster to come much higher in the attack, and that's unlocked a lot of movement on this left-hand flank. You know, the idea being right now is the cut-in on the preferred foot. Pasher on his left, on the right. Nwegbo on the left, on his right.
Change here for Detroit. It's their final sub window. Here's Abdi Salim. Made his debut in the friendly against Pumas. And from Orlando, where he primarily featured at MLS Next Pro. Former first-round pick out of Syracuse. And then Dominic Gasso comes in off the bench. He scored the winner in the 8-1 upset in the Eastern Conference quarterfinal last year. Comes out of the Detroit City Academy. Was playing in the Academy Cup in 2022. Not too much further up the line, was already on a pro deal. It's on a 4.5-year deal. Cross in for Birmingham. Second bite of the apple. Launch back in, header diving, it's in! Derek Dodson equalizes for Birmingham. In his 5th game for the club, his first goal. And Tommy Sohn's men have a chance to go grab points in Detroit.
There's proper coverage on the first ball whipped in on the near post. The problem is everybody gets caught ball watching on the second one back through. No pressure to step out and at least get in front of Tyler Pasher. Too slow to react. And then as they start to rotate, too much ground. Initially conceded that nobody steps back through. Is Stephen Carroll frustrated by the lack of coverage right there by Ben Morris? Morris is initially thinking that he's going to go out to help. Isn't able to retreat quick enough. Just different strokes for this Detroit City squad, but well taken by Derek Dodson to slide back over on the diagonal. Something that's ingrained in you over and over and over again. That near post run, the deft flick to the corner, right off the head.
Ultimately, Dodson came into this league as a winger, but he did so many things well on the defensive end. Such a good 1v1 defender that Ben Pierman was able to convince him to try out outside back last year. You could argue he's best in the league. Look at Pasher fly. Leads in Nwegbo. Pumps the brakes. Sheldon got back in position. Carroll stymied him long enough. Pasher's 2nd assist of the year. And Dodson's first goal since October 29th. And he was playing for Charleston against Birmingham. Well, Detroit, right around the hour mark when they made their subs, owned about 70% of the ball, but not a lot of chances to show for it. They're going to need to find another goal. Sent long, good first touch by Matthews. Amu Mensah, tough slide by Martinez. Preston Tabordi-Taka, watch that skip beneath his feet. Dodson's first goal in Birmingham colors. Three goals, 4 assists last season in Charleston. The year prior, Memphis, 3 goals. 5 goals in Hartford in one season, but that was primarily as a forward. Comes from an awesome soccer-playing family. Was a great scorer in his college days back at Georgetown, scored 32 for the Hoyas.
Well, that was a very different role for him, and you talked earlier about how he made his way into this league as a winger. Ben Pierman actually brought him into the battery to be the backup striker.
Right, he said he led the team in ball recoveries, led the league in among forwards, beg your pardon. And it just became obvious, we've got a hole there, let's see how he flies at outside back.
To your point, 2019 All-American at Georgetown, national champion, I might add. Really good out on the wings, and he's got an interesting responsibility down the stretch here with 5 minutes to go. The addition of Abdi Salim is going to slide him next to Stephen Carroll. Amu Mensah, as we just saw, is going to come a little bit higher, but if you're Derek Dodson, you're going to have a lot of space to step into here.
Kavita is going to get an ill-advised yellow card. The irony is the ball didn't actually end up all that far from where he kicked it because he put it off that advertising board at the end of the field.
The board says back to you, so well played, board. It's just frustration. He knows it's frustration, that's all. Best ball return in the nation. No pain, no gain.
They got their money's worth tonight. Let's see if we do too. 4 meetings between the teams, all Detroit wins, all by a singular goal. Matthews unloads. Down to Morris, and Kavita send that out. And Wegbo. Preston Tabor Itaka. Dodson. And Wegbo. Sixth year for Birmingham, 5 playoff appearances, couple of conference semifinals. It's been a slow burn, but a controlled one. Soaring over Sheldon. And did Tabor Itaka force that off Sheldon before it got out of play? He did. Corner. Take a look here, the push in the back. Catches off the chest of Sheldon. It was a recycled set piece. It saw Birmingham pull level in the 82nd. Ball crossed in. Header toward the back post, knocked down. Kavita! 2 goals in 6 minutes. Birmingham leads on the road. It's magic for the Legion in Detroit.
Throughout the entirety of this build under Tommy's zone and the change tactically, we talked about the structure you had to have down underneath. Fanuel Kavita and Alex Crognale. Watch the two of them going to work atop the 6. That's a mismatch right there. Well recognized by Pasher in the corner. Alex Crognale, 6'5". He's got almost 5 inches on Devin Amu Mensah. And all you're looking to do here is get a body on the ball, redirect it towards net. There's so much traffic in front of Saldana just to bring it back across and become threatening. They don't get it on the first one, and then the ever-steady center back, Fanuel Kavita, just takes his time to bury this into the upper corner and into the lead.
Forget first goal this season. It is his first goal in 113 regular season games for Birmingham, dating back to 2021. When we said it had to be by committee, Devin, the odds that it would be the 2nd career goal for Detroit's Reese Williams, you think, okay, it might be Detroit's night. But Dodson comes in as an outside back, gets his first for Birmingham. And then Kavita strikes for his first for the Legion in a drastically more significant amount of time to turn this whole thing around. Could this be the first loss at home for Detroit this year? Amumensa through Matthews. Morris tried to find Matthews on the other end. Joe got by Martinez. Amumensa! Referee says no.
Devin Amumensa knows it too. He got a pretty decent touch on it, but nothing whatsoever coming from a Legion player. Gets around him, just trying to take a little bit more onto this ball, get extra English onto it to pivot around the outside of Alex Cronali. No contact, couldn't keep his feet up. If anything, a little love for the turf monster.
By the way, Kavita's first goal since August of 2020 with St. Louis FC. Preston Tabor-Itaka. Tabor-Itaka knocked down by Salim. Second of 4 added minutes. Birmingham could jump Detroit, but make no mistake, Detroit's got games in hand on everybody. Only their 13th game of the year. Birmingham preparing their final sub. They only used one window. It was in Wegbo and Mensah together, so Amuda comes in off the bench, and Preston Tabor-Itaka takes leave.
Substitution.
Only the third appearance for Amuda. 16-year-old native of Kansas. Brought him in at 15, and they said, really, it's our first full project as a club in terms of bringing someone in from the outside into the academy. Brought him in last year, said he just operates with maturity much higher than that of a 15-year-old. Now he could drive a car. Joe, did Detroit steal something back here at the end? Looking for Morris. Kavita got a piece and races to keep the ball in. Skitters down the line. Carroll upfield. Here's Martinez. For whatever reason, Birmingham has been better on the road this year. They're about to spring a major upset. Perhaps not by the standings, but to win at Keyworth, a rarity. High for Pasher. Still another minute to go. Moses Mensah. Rather than take advantage of the parting seas, took it to the corner. Stays with Birmingham still. What a result for Birmingham.
That's incredibly taken at the end of this match for all the glitz and glamour that has been the structure change and finding a way to be on the ball, to be the aggressor, to struggle that long throughout a match, not producing anything in the final third, and get your success off of 2 set pieces. Give them a ton of credit. This Detroit team, they'll be around, they'll be fine, but they need to be more clinical when the opportunities present themselves. If you could say one thing about them, they took their foot off the accelerator when they worked into this match. They got their lead, they sat back, became complacent, and it came back to bite them.
Is there any time remaining? Saldana willing everybody forward. That's full time. 2 goals in the final 10 minutes, and Birmingham take all 3 points from Detroit. What a performance by Tommy Sohn's Birmingham Legion. And after tasting defeat by a singular goal in all 4 previous meetings, Birmingham Legion hop Detroit into 5th, pick up their first ever win against Detroit, and they do so the impenetrable Keyworth Stadium. Back in a moment to wrap it up on CBS Sports Network. Well, the story for Birmingham Legion has been their remarkable defensive performances over the last month. And what if I told you it's 2 defenders on set pieces, Dodson, the new acquisition, and the captain, Fanuel Kavita, who score in the final 10 minutes to lead Birmingham over Detroit on the road. DCFC losing after leading at half for the first time since October 2022, a stretch of 15 games. Coming up next here on CBS Sports Network, it's the 2024 U.S. Poker Open. Got more action coming next Wednesday night right here on CBS Sports Network. So make sure you continue to join us as our summer of soccer has just begun. Birmingham knocks off Detroit 2-1. For Devin Kerr, our entire team in Detroit and beyond, Mike Watts saying thanks for watching and so long for now. Good night.